You are now listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Hello. Welcome to another edition of the Narrative Podcast. The Narrative Podcast is the home of original people peace, original people reciprocity, and original people positivity. The Narrative Podcast promotes positive self-images of original people. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. I am your host, Halsey Allen. Welcome all my narrators. Oh man. So much going on in the world. Been super busy. But for the most part, I've been staying true to my promise to do, as many uploads of the Narrative Podcast as I possibly can during the weekday in the effort to maintain positivity. Yes, because there was just so much negativity going on. I feel you just have to put positivity out in the atmosphere, and I'm going to be trying to do my very best to do that. But anyway, welcome to the Narrative Podcast. My narrators, they already know what my podcast is about. They already know the demonstration, my format, what I tend to talk about, and the way I present my content. And then also, all the nuances of the Narrative Podcast. But for those unfamiliar with me and my platform, how I usually start things out before I dive into the content here on the Narrative Podcast is to give a brief synopsis of, the Narrative Podcast, my platform, my mission statement, the content itself, and just all the nuances and misnomers you need to understand about my platform, so you can grasp it better and get more out of it. So having said that, I'm going to dive right on into the synopsis of the Narrative Podcast before diving into the content this evening. So starting at the top, Tippy, the name. I named my podcast the Narrative Podcast because I don't like the false narrative that the media weaves about original people and original people culture. I get to the original people part momentarily, but essentially I designed this podcast to uplift and edify my people, original people, and by original people, I mean black people, African American, Negro, whatever you want to call us. But like I said, I get to the original part a little bit later on in the segment. But this is entirely why I designed this platform, is just to negate the way the media vilifies our people and our culture. They intentionally misappropriate our images and our likenesses to push their agenda. The purpose of the Narrative Podcast is basically to counter the media's inherent intentional misrepresentation of our people and our culture. And I do that with positivity. As a matter of fact, I think that's a perfect segue for my tagline. The Narrative Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original people culture. How do I destroy the negative stereotypes about our people and our culture? By providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Hence, the title, The Narrative Podcast. That's the entire purpose of the Narrative Podcast. Is basically a positive space designed to uplift and edify our people using positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. My mission statement is to inspire all that listens to the Narrative Podcast to do as I do, utilize their platforms to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, not only to inspire you to do it, but bring awareness to you as to why to do that. So yeah, that's essentially, my mission statement for the Narrative Podcast. Next order of business, a nuance you should know about my platform is I refer to my regular listening audience as my narrators, and the reason why I do that is kind of because we're living in the digital information age, and we pretty much share everything online, everything that we post online, and distribute and network, share ideas, and basically tell or narrate your own stories. Every place online has an online bio section, or where you can tell whoever's reading your profile a little bit about yourself, your hobbies, your interests, your turn-ons, your turn-offs, and basically how social media is constructed these days is like whatever platform it is, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. People are trying to share the best version of themselves. And that's kind of what I want to inspire my listening audience to do as well. Basically just share the best version of yourself. And that's what we should be doing as a people. We should be sharing the best versions of ourselves online, because the media intentionally vilifies our people. Their influence and impact on our people and our culture is dangerous. It makes people outside of our culture, perceive us a certain way, interact with us a certain way, and treat us a certain way because of the distorted images and likenesses they're supplied with by the media about our people and our culture. It leads to a lot of incarceration and unaliving in our community because of people's jaded, warped perceptions of us. So people just kind of respond to us based on how we're portrayed in the media, in music, in movies and television, and they just kind of, created this generalization of our people and our culture, and basically, react to us, how we're portrayed. So the media vilifies us. They have using their influence. They have the rest of the world, buying into all these negative stigmas and stereotypes about us. They have the rest of the world and ourselves, buying into pimp culture, whore culture, gangbang culture, thought culture, what have you. All the usual suspects, being overly aggressive, criminalistic, low in intelligence, degenerate in nature, all of that. That's why it's important to, reclaim the narrative online by, telling or narrating our own stories. Because like living in this digital information age, we have the unique ability to, put out whatever imagery and send whatever message we want to send online. We can make our own truth online, so why not responsibly use this power to, tell our stories, our images, and our likenesses, and, put out how we should be represented. And how should we be represented? We should be represented as kings and queens, gods and goddesses. Because we can't control, the media. We can't control what they put out about us. We can't control how other people outside of our culture perceive us. But what we can control is our very own content. What, the type of content we're putting out as a people. The story that we're telling about ourselves. And the story we're telling about ourselves, unfortunately, is not a positive one. So, we can bridge and narrow that gap simply just by taking our times and, praising what we love and not bashing what we hate online. And just basically building ourselves up, building our communities up, building our brothers and sisters up, and just celebrating our accomplishments, celebrating our achievements, and celebrating our excellence, and celebrating everything, that makes us us. Instead of using our platforms to take cheap shots at each other, air out dirty laundry, and drag each other through the mud. So that's why I call my target listening audience my narrators, and that's my methodology about this whole podcast that I'm doing. And then real quick, one point I want to make about the media, a little sub point I want to tack on about them is, they have an agenda. Their agenda primarily is to make money, turning a profit. And to achieve that goal, when is negativity not sold? Like, sex, drugs, and violence has always sold all throughout history. So, that's always been a popular selling point in the media before, the internet, before radio, before television. That's kind of how, the news made headlines. They just play up all the negative stuff. So, another reason why they pick on our people so much is because they're ran by the powers that be. And who are the powers that be? The elite class, higher echelon, aka wealthy white people. And that's why they spend so much time vilifying our people. The elite class, they pretty much target everybody that's not in their circle. They want to be the poster boards for refinement, sophistication, elegance, class, etiquette, proper etiquette, and all that. Snobbish is another word for it. They want to just be that. And to achieve that, they have to resort to trickery, by distorting everybody's images and likenesses that aren't of the elite class. So they try to really vilify everybody. They do it to all cultures. They basically try to make everybody look degenerate, low in intelligence, low in refinement, low in class and sophistication and culture. They try to make everybody seem uncultured when in reality they're the ones who are truly uncultured, because that's why they, steal everybody else's culture. They don't have any culture of their own. They don't, they don't have no real flair of anything, flair of style, or, have any type of, I guess the word is panache about them. That's why they surround themselves with status symbols to make themselves feel important. And that's what they try to promote and try to push. They try to push capitalism and over-consumerism just so they'll feel important. Just so they will feel privileged. So like I said, they do it to everybody. But they especially do it to our people. They do it to everybody who isn't of the elite class, but they especially do it to our people, because out of everybody else that they invest time into corrupting their images and their likenesses, they fear our people the most, because our people are the most direct threats to their way of life. The reason why we're a direct threat is because we're so impactful and influential. Everybody copies off us and tries to be like us to some capacity. We pretty much, it's not even up for debate at this point. We pretty much influence the world. Everybody looks to us for something. They borrow from our culture, whether it's food, whether it's music, whether it's fashion, whether it's arts, whatever. Everybody is heavily influenced by our people. And one of the biggest reasons they're so afraid of us is because they represent mass consumerism, capitalism, bureaucracy. They represent a lifestyle that you don't actually need to be happy, to be successful. You don't need a big giant mansion. You don't need all these status symbols that they surround themselves by. You don't need to spend money just because you have some money to spend. And it's because of people's overspending, which makes them powerful as they are. And, our people, the original people, were natural people. We don't need all these status symbols. Out of everybody on the planet, we're the most connected to nature. And so we have never, ever actually, in our whole lives, ever actually just, bought stuff because, we want to feel important. Now, true to the fact, being that we descend from royalty, of course we like opulence, of course we like nice things, but it's not a necessity to attain the quote-unquote finer things in life. You don't have to have designer, you don't have to have a mansion and a yacht to be important, to be successful, to be somebody. And we've never, clinged on to that notion as a people. Slowly, throughout time, as the more we became exposed to these people, that we started adapting their philosophy and started adapting their way of life. But by nature, as a people, we don't need that. We're just quintessentially cool. We make everything relevant. We make everything trendy. It's not a thing until we make it a thing. Until we stamp it, nothing's actually a thing. And that's what the elite class know. So having said that, to say, once we get back in tune with who we are, our true natures as a people, their world will come crashing down. Because we'll wake the rest of the people up, because everybody copies off of us and follows our leads. And then they'll wake up and they'll stop spending money too, just because they have some money to spend, and stop buying designer and stop buying, all these overpriced cars and big giant mansions and planes and all that. And then they'll no longer be in the elite class. They'll no longer be important, because everybody else will just be like, I'm just going to get some essentials. And like, if I want something nice, I'm going to buy something nice because I want it. Not because like I have to have it to be important, to get, special privileges and preferential treatment. Just because I saw it, I want it, it's nice. I'm not going to be compulsive with it and buy like 40 and 50 and try to buy like, limited edition, whatever, just to say I have it, just to say I own it. Our people represent a stop to all that. Because once we stop doing it, buying into this, false sense of security, then the whole rest of the world start doing it as well. So yeah, but one more point I want to make about, the powers that be, the elite class that run the media. Not only that we represent a fall to their way of life, they also fear us because, they're natural historians. So, they're natural historians. They study history. They study everybody's history. And, try to basically steal everybody's identity, steal everybody's everything. But like I said, out of everybody, they do it too. They're natural historians. They're aware of history. They know their history and they know our history. And they know we are the direct reasons why they are an elite class. We spawned them. We are the direct cause of their financial wealth. We're the direct cause of their systemic power that built financial wealth and systemic infrastructures because they were so afraid of us. Because they knew who we were originally. And they knew who they were originally. They originally are the people who they try to paint everybody else to be out. Unintelligent, uncultured, unrefined, barbaric, savage. So, their whole existence is a big facade. But besides that, their biggest fear is, when it comes to our people, that we'll wake up and start unifying and reclaim everything that they took and everything that they're currently taking from us. And then do to them what they've done and have been doing to us nearly since the beginning of time. So that's just what I wanted to tack on, that sub point about the elite class and their influence on the media and why the media is so fixated into destroying our images and our likenesses. Now on to some more misnomers about the Narrator podcast before diving into the content this evening or this morning by the time I finish uploading. Anyway, so the Narrator podcast is a positive space. It's dedicated to uplifting and edifying our people. I don't participate in gossip, slander, name calling, nothing that'll make us look bad as a people. Like, we're the only people to get attacked from all sides. We truly have no allies. We truly have no people that's really will get down for us other than us. So I don't want to play a role into, the downfall of our people. This platform represents, positivity, change, growth, enlightenment. I don't engage in the foolishness. I don't weigh in on our people who's back and forth, trading insults online. I don't do that, weigh in on who's right and who's wrong. Like I said, this is just a positive space. I'm trying to encourage positivity and, steer clear of the, the nonsense and the buffoonery and just, all the other silly things that go on online within our community. So I don't want to participate in it, co-sign it, or any of that on this platform. I'm all about uplifting, motivating, edifying, and just putting out positive frames of references and just really promoting positive reinforcement. That's what the Narrator podcast is all about. It's all about positive reinforcement about our people and our culture, and celebrating us, celebrating our excellence, and trying to build unity. So I'm just all about trying to build unity, trying to uplift, trying to edify, trying to motivate. That's it. So, that's all that the Narrator podcast is dedicated towards, is just like uplifting, edifying, motivating, and inspiring. Stories of our triumph and our success. That's all I try to do here on the Narrative podcast. I don't feed into the negativity. I don't feed into the gossip. I don't, try to promote it and fan it in any form, shape, form, or fashion, and try not to encourage, the listening audience to do the same. But, you can utilize, I'm not trying to be the internet police and tell you what content not to post on your platform, but, I just try to get people to see the bigger picture when they do engage in gossip. But anyway, yeah, that's what the Narrative podcast is all about. Now, however, what I do on here is I do talk about current events, breaking news, whether it's globally, whether it's nationally, whether it's something within our community. I talk about that, from our perspective, whatever is happening in the world from our perspective. And every now and then I might have to, if it's in the headline about a celebrity, I have to talk about it as it relates to our people, especially if it's one of our people in the headlines. So it's never to name drop or try to get clicks and all that. If I weigh in on something like that, it's just really to break it down from our perspective and, attempt to try to put whatever negative thing they're in the media for into a proper context. I try to unpack everything from the bigger picture. And the bigger picture, anytime we're engaged in any type of negativity within our community, whenever we're engaged in any type of self-destructive activity, it usually stems from, systemic power structure. It usually stems from systematic programming and conditioning. We've been programmed and conditioned to perceive each other a certain way, respond to each other a certain way, interact with each other a certain way, and react a certain way. We just been fear conditioned. We've been desensitized with violence. Basically the media has pretty much declared psychological war on us. Our government has been, experimenting, doing all kinds of social, biochemical, medical experiments on us since, its inception. Not to mention socially and economically as well. So, the last thing I want everyone to do on my platform is be the catalyst to engage in it. So I just bring awareness to it, and that's why I talk about current issues. I expose, why this famous person is engaged in something negative, and I trace it all back to, this systemic power structure. Because we've been programmed and conditioned to act in a certain way. So 9 out of 10, whenever one of us in our community is engaged in something negative, it's probably like that's at the core of it. But never to garner, personal monetary gain, and definitely never to drag one of my brothers or sisters through the mud and besmirch their reputations and names any further than it's already being besmirched by the media. It's just basically if I bring their name up, it's just as a vehicle to point out the real problem. Next order of business, the Narrator Podcast is a time-sensitive platform. I try not to exceed 1 hour per broadcast, primarily because this is an all-audio platform. So, meaning, being an all-audio platform, we, I talk. And I can't bore my listening audience to sleep, so I have to be, very attentive and keep you interested and wanting to participate in the content and want to hear what I'm talking about. And I can't do that if I'm just droning on and on about nothing. So I try to make it as entertaining and enlightening as possible, and try to keep the levity, try to keep my content cohesive, and just keep it moving, keep it fluid, and just keep everything short, sweet, to the point. No need to elongate anything and drag anything out. I don't want to beat you upside the head with the message, but I do want to deliver a message, but I don't want to beat you upside the head with the message. So that's why I try to, make everything, try not to exceed 1 hour per broadcast. Last order of business about the Narrator Podcast is this is the home of original people. Meaning I refer to our people as original people. I try to encourage my listening audience to do the same. I mean, you can refer to yourself as whatever you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable calling yourself black, go right on ahead. Comfortable referring to yourself as African American, go on ahead. If you're comfortable referring to yourself by your nationality, go on ahead. But on here, the Narrator Podcast, I refer to our people as original people. And the purpose of me doing that really is for two reasons. One is to historical significance behind the word original as it relates to our people. We were and are the original people of this planet. We was here approximately about 5,000 years before, everybody, before every other civilization you can think of, before every religion, nationality, ethnicity, whatever you want to call it. We was here first, originally, and we inhabited every corner of the globe originally. And we also pretty much originated everything. Every modern day invention you can think of, we most likely invented it or some adaptation of it, or earlier model of it. And so we was the original blueprint for, everything. Before anything was, we were. Before anything existed, we existed. Anywhere in the world where original people ran, if you're ever wondering where we was at in the world, all you ever had to do is look at the artwork, look at the statues, look at the paintings. Who do they look like? Most likely they look like us. They have some type of, African feature. Unless the colonizers tainted it. And most of the time, when it's not, a picture of somebody that doesn't have African features, and not because it was in Europe, or it's just because, they were intimidated by our dominance and they tried to, do what the colonizers do. And try to insert themselves and make themselves, the head of it. But like I said, we was the original. We was here first. We originated everything. Everything came after us. We mothered and fathered civilization. You know what I mean? So that's why I refer to our people as original people. One sub point I want to tack on to that is the media constantly tries to just keeps on trying to put out this false narrative about slavery. They want to keep on putting out this false narrative about slavery, how much it impacted us as a people. So like I said, being the first thing about it, the inaccuracy of it was like how long it lasted, how many other nations participated in the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, chattel slavery, all that's recorded inaccurately, especially as it pertains to us here in America, in the Americas. So like being original people, the majority of us was already here. The majority of us was already here in the Americas. Yes, we was already here. As a matter of fact, we was already everywhere. Like in all corners of the globe, there was a high concentration of people with African DNA, like everywhere. And we didn't get to all them places on a slave boat. That's just like a false narrative that they keep on, perpetuating. So like while slavery did happen, they wouldn't got some slaves from the continent of Africa. They just didn't go there for thousands of years transporting slaves through the transatlantic slave trade. Like, most of the slavery that took place in other parts of the world is just colonizers moved in and enslaved the darker complected people of that land. So we didn't exist. We existed like pretty much everywhere. Every corner of the globe, every nation you can think of, there was a large concentration of us already there. especially here in the Americas. Like, it didn't go on for like thousands of years. They didn't just for thousands of years keep going back to the continent of Africa, forcefully taking slaves and, you know, putting them in different parts. Like, it's so many like false fallacies about slavery. It's just like, if you sit down and take your time and just really look at it on the surface, you will see like how much we've been lied to, especially for those living in America. Like, you know, the majority of us, we was already here. The natives, who they call Native Americans, they're not the original natives. The ones that got the casinos and the hotels and named after all these weird animals, those aren't even the real Native Americans. They're the Eurasians. As a matter of fact, it used to even be one point in time, white people identified as Indian just to get like a tax credit. Then they made up the term Negro for us, because Indians weren't allowed to vote, but Negroes were allowed to vote. But you know, having said all that to say, basically everything that we've been taught about slavery is like inaccurate. We were, you know, and are the original people. There's not too many places on the planet we didn't already exist. You know, they constantly try to make slavery be the most defining moment for us as a people. And what it actually is a form of trauma conditioning when they do that, because they want to keep on trying to instill the fear of slavery in us. Like, we don't see any images of like the aggressive dominant slave. We see the images of us, you know, the brutal images of us, the images of us being submissive, the images of us being frightened, scared beyond belief of slavery, fearing for our lives of the white man. And in reality, when slavery was going on, we fought the entire time it happened. You know, like every other like couple months there was an uprising at a plantation, but history doesn't record that. So yeah, that's all I really want to point out. All the false misnomers about slavery. You know, how long it happened. You know, why, when, and where it took place at. You know. But the next thing I want to point out, why I refer to our people as original people on this platform as original people, is to point out as original people, you know, the second part of it is the unity factor. I refer to our people as original people to, you know, inspire unity within our community, because there are so many different types of us scattered all throughout the globe. So many different types of us referring to ourselves as so many different type of things, identifying as so many different types of things. We're really separated as a people, but, you know, we all have, you know, a couple, you know, commonalities, and one being of our high concentration of melanin, aka, or carbon, aka melanin. So not only that, we can all trace our lineage back to the original point of origin for all civilizations. That's the thing that binds us together as a people. You know, that's why I refer to our people as original people, because no matter, you know, what nationality you claim, no matter what language you speak, what religion you are, spiritual discipline you practice. We're all original people. No matter how you slice it up, we're the only people that make any differences amongst our people. Everybody else outside of our culture, they look at one of us and just call us black. We're the only ones that make all these distinctions. But, a cool, like if you don't want to refer to yourself as a this or a that, original people, it says it all, So that's why I refer to our people as original people here on the Narrative Podcast. And I think that's everything that you need to know about the platform. If I glaze over anything, I'm more than 300 episodes in. Feel free to go through my episode catalog and reference, any uploaded episodes of the Narrative Podcast for reference, for proper context of what I'm attempting to do on this platform. If you're still a little hazy after this synopsis, but whatever you do, download this episode and our previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast, wherever you get your podcast information from. And without any further ado, here we go, diving on into the content. Wherever you get your excuse me, I keep on losing my place. Diving on into the content. This is a weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast, and what I tend to do on weekday episodes of the Narrative Podcast is I break it down into sections. Each section of the Narrative Podcast, consists of positive news articles during the weekday. For weekday episodes of the Narrative Podcast, the reason why I do positive news articles here on the Narrative Podcast is really just to, make up for all the negativity that we're constantly being bombarded with as a people. So the purpose of me doing positive news articles is just really to kind of, like I said, to counter the media's negative news that they force on us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Being exposed to all that negative trauma causes all kinds of, issues, traumatic experiences, and aggression and other negative feelings, just triggers us negatively. Just being exposed to negativity, all day, every single day, like nothing ever positive out of our community. There are one or two exceptions of the rules. I would say I would give Good Morning America their credit. They do have some pretty good snippets about our people doing something positive, doing something impactful and empowering. But, all the other media outlets is pretty much just like us getting carted off to jail, us participating in some type of lewdness or degeneracy, or some type of activity that would set our people back thousands of years. Something that would definitely embarrass our ancestors. Always showing us unaliving each other, engaging in some type of criminal activity or something like that, just every single day. We need a break from that. So that's why I do these positive news articles, just basically to showcase and highlight positive things do happen in our community. We do triumph in the face of adversity. We are progressing as a people. We do have leaders in our community. We do have people in our community trying to excel and do positive things for the community and impact our community in a positive way. And we need to be reminded of that constantly. So that's why I do positive news articles here on the Narrative Podcast. So without any further ado, the first positive news article of the evening. The headline reads, Black real estate entrepreneur who went from broke to millions is now helping others do the same too. And the brother's name is Michael Ealy. He's the president and CEO of a firm, of a real estate firm by the name of Narrator Investments. Narrator Investments is a commercial real estate firm. He started this firm in his early 20s with an investment of just $3,000. He was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. He attended Tuskegee University. He was pursuing a degree, a STEM degree. And if you don't know what STEM is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. He was studying to be an electronic engineer. However, he changed his major, changed his major midway through his degree. I think he did earn a degree in engineering, but decided to go another route after being exposed to some literature about purchasing realty. So after he had his epiphany, it made sense to purchase properties. It made sense for him to purchase properties. He stepped out on faith and started his business. Of course, this came years later. He's worked in all kinds of places. He worked at a couple engineering firms, but he didn't really like that. And then he just started playing with the notion of, selling houses, selling property. And eventually, over time, of course, he developed his own real estate investment firm. And that's how Narrator Investments was born. Michael Ealy is also an author. He's written hundreds of books, over a dozen book titles. I'm saying hundreds and thousands. The article really didn't say what all books, didn't list his books, but you can do your Googles and find out his most recent book that he published. But he's all about empowering and impacting his people through real estate. And so when you go to Narrator Investments website, which is let me punch that up right quick. NarratorInvestments.com, and you'll kind of see his portfolio. He has it laid out. It's basically like he has package systems, basically like flip a house package systems. He got apartments. He has condos, apartments, plots of land. Starter out packs. He got packages for as low as, $500 to, invest in. And then he also has all kind of literature and, things of that nature posted on the website, to, teach, whoever, visits the website about real estate. And then of course he has also offers webinars and classes like tutorials on like, how to flip your first property and all that. So yeah, join me in giving that brother a warm Narrative Podcast round of applause for Hassan Investments, and the brother's name again was Mike Ely. Not to be confused with the actor, the light-skinned guy with the blue eyes. That's a different Mike Ely. All right, keeping the ultra light tonight. I only got a couple articles, you guys, because I'm trying to do. It is officially Friday, so I started broadcasting late. Trying to stay, true to my promise to try to do like, a couple news articles or a couple weekday episodes during the weekday, as opposed to just one time during the weekday. But I have to do it when I get time allotted to do it. So I didn't have any free time to do it till like about 9, 10, 11. That's when I started doing the upload, or started doing the recording of this episode. So in a few hours, I do Fridays, and then, and then of course, Saturday, a full episode of the Narrative Podcast. But anyway, I'm just explaining why these articles are going to be so short tonight or this morning or whenever. I'm gonna share it back on the social. But anyway, next article, the headline reads: Michael Jordan celebrates opening second new North Carolina medical clinic with mom by his side. So your brother Michael Jordan partnered with Novant Health and opened the Novant Health Michael Jordan Family Medical Clinic on Greenfield Street in Wilmington, North Carolina, to bring much needed comprehensive primary care services to the community. So, that's something very positive, something our people need, especially in like the hood. I hate saying it, the hood, but neighborhoods with high concentrations of our people. Like, it's usually a bad situation because it's usually like a food desert, and usually like there's no primary care facilities for miles around. And the few primary care facilities that are in proximity of neighborhoods that we occupy, the service is just like, hit and miss. You can basically be unalive. You can literally be unalived while waiting in the triage to be treated, to be seen by a doctor. But this healthcare facility is top notch. They're going to give the people in North Carolina some quality primary care. You definitely got to put some respect on Michael Jordan's name for that. And he doesn't get enough respect as a philanthropist. A whole lot of people, say Michael Jordan is a cheapskate. He ain't with the movement. He ain't about the movement. He's a handkerchief head Negro. He a Sambo Negro. Like, Mike just talked about real super dirty. And my answer to that is just like I say all the time, you can't force people to be with the movement, and you definitely can't force an entertainer to participate in the movement, because their job is just to entertain, whether it's sports, whether it's telling jokes, whether it's rapping, whether it's singing, acting, whatever they're in the field of entertainment, their job is just simply to entertain. So they don't really owe us anything. Our entertainers that do reach in the hood and give back, we're fortunate that they do, but they're not obligated to. Now, as far as Michael Jordan, I've in the past had vitriol towards Michael Jordan because of the senseless deaths behind, the Jordan shoes, like so many of our youth unaliving each other to, get a shoe that he doesn't even wear himself. If you look down at Michael Jordan's feet, he usually got like on some dress shoes, maybe some Italian loafers, or like, he might mess around and put on some Walmart kicks, whatever shoes feel comfortable on his feet. You know what I mean? That's what type of individual he is. He only just signed his name. People be trying to act like that's his company. He just signed his name to it and they slid him a bag, But yeah, so I said all that to say Michael Jordan does give back. It's just like he doesn't get on social media and announce that he gives back. He's a private, reserved person, and he's not playing in the league no more, and he got his bag. You know what I mean? He wants his anonymity, and he doesn't deserve like a whole lot of the scrutiny that he gets. All right, last article of this evening or morning edition of the Narrative Podcast. The headline reads, 15-year-old teen from Indiana becomes the youngest college graduate in the state's history. And forgive me if I butcher the name. The brother's name, he's of Nigerian descent, so forgive me in advance if I butcher the brother's name. His name is Che Njumbe, Cheynjumbe. Earned a bachelor's degree from Indiana University Northwest while taking dual credit courses at 21st Century Carter High School. So yeah, he was doing double duty in school. So he was like attending one of those, accelerated programs where you get college credit in high school. So yeah, it's kind of shocking to me though that he got a bachelor's degree from his area that he's studying, because usually those courses where you get college credit for work you do in high school, it's usually only like in the vocational skills, like car repair or home nursing or something like that. But yeah, that's a great accomplishment. And so join me in giving a warm narrative podcast to our young brother Kai Nwumbe for his accomplishment on receiving his doctorate degree. Oh wait, well, last part of the article, I jumped ahead of myself. He plans on after he goes to college, he plans on majoring in engineering. He says he wants to be finished up with his doctorate and become a biomedical engineer by age 22. So he's halfway there. So like we're going to have a new bioengineer. So give it up to our brother K. Nwumbe. All right, y'all. So I only got one more section, and in this section is called my speaking point section. My speaking point section basically is just my speaking point section basically is just current news, what's trending in the news, whether it be globally, whether it be nationally, whether it be just something out of our community. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I just do that to break down what it means for our people in its entirety, excuse me. And having said that, let's get into it. And the reason why I do, current events, because if history hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us this: if you don't tell your own story, your story will be told for you. So that's why I do the current events. I'm telling our story for us. So up first, in the news, apparently there is now some brothers who have filed a federal lawsuit against Spirit Airlines. So they filed a lawsuit earlier in the week, Wednesday, for an incident that happened, I think in January, at the beginning of the year. And basically what happened was, like 8 brothers on Spirit Airlines got ejected from the plane by the Spirit Airlines staff because they got a complaint from a white passenger that they said, they smelled offensive body odor, and the offensive body odor was making them ill. This is what the white I swear to God, I can't make this up. So, Spirit Airlines responded in kind and singled out 8 black passengers. Now, the 8 black passengers, they wasn't sitting by each other. They didn't know each other from the hole in the ground. They just randomly had stewardesses, or whatever you call them, whatever the PC term for, airplane employees are. Just randomly, like pick them out, like legit single them out, made them stand in a single file line and ushered them off the plane. Now the 8 passengers was on a plane in Phoenix with that was supposed to be catching a connecting flight to New York City. So they got to the halfway mark at the plane state, or the plane at the terminal, and they just basically they basically just made them get off the plane in single file line, and it was just basically like public humiliation. They uploaded it. It's all over social media. Staff in their video, in their cell phone video footage, was agreeing with them that that's racist. One of them said that's racist in the video, and like on the cell phone camera footage, one of the staff members was caught on camera agreeing, oh, I 110% agree with you. I don't agree with it at all. And, da-da-da-da-da. And because a white man in coach, I think they was in like business class, a guy in coach talking about they smell offensive odor. So that feeds into the negative stereotypes that all black people got an offensive body odor to them too, like white people. Like we smell funny to white people. Like, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I'm just saying, like, to take all the black passengers off that flight, all of them. Now, we're not going to sit here and act like, we haven't caught a flight and somebody is just kind of, their hygiene is humming. We're not going to act like we haven't sat beside somebody and their underarms was cutting up, or their breath was cutting up, or their feet was cutting up. But on the airline, it's kind of expected because, like, maybe you didn't have a time to, get checked into a hotel and grab you a shower or whatever. But to sit up there and take every single black person on the plane, off the plane, because a white guy said, basically, reading in between the lines, it smells like nigger up in here. That's basically what he said. Reading in between the lines, it smells like a nigga up in here. It smells like hard R. That's basically what he said. And, Spirit Airlines, like, they're just really known for customer service anyway. Like, wow. So, like, if they get awarded judgment, it's not even really going to be worth nothing. It's barely, they're going to probably get like maybe, I would say like 20 bands a pop for the settlement, because I don't think they want to go to trial. But the level of humiliation that they had to suffer, like people just sitting up there gawking at them, that goes all the way back to slave times. But yeah, it's really unfortunate about that scenario. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. Like, I don't even know how much more in depth that I should be talking about it. So the brothers who are suing is a Mr. Alvin Jackson, Emmanuel Jean Joseph, and Xavier Veal. Those are the persons named in this class action lawsuit. I believe it's a class action lawsuit against Spirit Airlines for their negative experience that they have that was obviously like racially motivated. Well, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room now. So as we know, the orange guy, Chester Cheetah, the Donster, he got found guilty on all charges for the bribery. So, only in America. Now, there's so many of us in our community, so many intelligent, highly intelligent people that made a bad choice in life. And because of their bad choice that they made in life, they are ostracized from working certain jobs, certain privileges they cannot have because they are ex-felons, committed of a crime. Whereas Donald Trump, since he's guilty of bribery, he's been, that's a felony charge. It's going to stick. But yet he's going to still be allowed to run for president of the United States. Somehow. Now they're saying that that's an automatic disqualification for him being able to run for the United States. That's what they're saying. But if it's a way for him to be the next president of the United States, he, my friends, is going to be the next president of the United States of America. Pardon me. This we know. I don't even have to point out the double standards. It's like, it's classic them folks playing with us in our face. To the 10th level. We've been sitting up there as a people, just sitting up there letting them play with us in our face for, ever since America has been established. So if he gets on that ballot, that's them playing with us in our face. Like, But the sad thing is, if he does get on the ballot, he can't be no worse than what we're going through right now with Biden. That's the sad thing. Because this Biden administration ain't about donkey. I mean, how I personally feel about the whole voting thing anyway, with the electoral voting college and all, it's all a finesse anyway, but, damn, like, Biden, he ain't even trying at all. At all. And at least with Trump, when you're getting screwed, he lets you know you're being screwed. She ain't sugarcoating it. It's no ifs, ands, and maybe. You're taking it up the pooper. I didn't mean to be that graphic, but like, yeah, that's what it is. That's what politics is in a nutshell anyway for the American people. But yeah, if it's a way for him to be president, he's going to be the next president of the United States. I keep saying it. Like, the writing's on the wall. Like, it ain't even no sense in being mad. Because even had, the allegations not have stuck, it still boils down between him and Biden. And then still with both parties, no side has offered any tangible legislation for our people. And how the hell do we keep getting in this situation? Now we can sit up here, is it because we ain't voting? It's because we ain't voting. Okay, we voted. Now what? Then when we do vote, they pass laws to try to suppress the vote. So, like, I don't even know, man. Like, that is crazy, man. Well, that's it, and that's all. Thank y'all for listening for this weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. I'll be giving you another one in a couple hours. I'll be uploading this one sometime, later on today. It is officially where I'm at, Friday. But technically, this was the Thursday episode, because it was Thursday when I started recording. So tomorrow, in a few hours from now, I'll be doing another one. So spoiler alert, I'm not going to deliver any commentary on the Friday one, because, I'm going to give you a full episode on Saturday. So, just get ready for that. But other than that, this episode of the Narrative Podcast is officially a wrap. Thank you for listening. support the Narrative Podcast by downloading this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast. And the best way to do that is follow me on the social, either on YouTube or X, formerly known as Twitter. And the reason why you want to do that is because on both of them is linked to the podcast where I'm broadcasting from. And every time I'm done recording, it automatically either goes to YouTube or automatically goes to X. So you want to, if you want to keep up with the latest episode of the Narrative Podcast, follow me on YouTube or X. So my YouTube channel is Halsey Allen, and it's just a viewer channel. It doesn't have it's just my viewer channel. I don't have a channel designated just for the Narrative Podcast. But rest assured, if you go into videos, every single video I have uploaded is just Narrative Podcast episodes. And then also follow me on X. I've never been proficient with Twitter, let alone X, but they also automatically upload to X. Now, for the downloading of the Narrative Podcast, you will want to go download it from X. When you click on the link on X, the Narrative Podcast link on X, it'll show you just, how you should do it. You will see the download button. You will see the, the box where you can make a comment, the little heart-shaped like button, and the little, 3-prong dilly where you can share it back to other platforms on social media. So do all of those. But the one that I prefer you to do is the download button that helps me the most. But you can also like, comment, and share as well. But definitely download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast, wherever you get your podcast information from. Next order of business, I have written a book titled The Black Card. The Black Card is available on a platform called Poetizer.com. Poetizer.com is a platform for writers, specifically people that write poetry. And on that platform, they have a virtual online bookstore for people to use that platform. And so, users of that platform, they can turn their work into a book. And that's what I did, is turn my work into a book. And I titled my book The Black Card. The Black Card is a 30-page book of poetry. And the poems are about, what it's like to be a black person, original person. It's basically a snapshot of our people. It's an all-encompassing look at our people and, what makes us us. And, it just captures and encompasses everything we experience and go through as a people, positive and negative. If you're an original person, you can definitely read that book and identify with every single last piece featured in the book. So do yourself a favor and go to Poetizer.com, their virtual online bookstore, and purchase my book titled The Black Card. The Black Card will make a good coffee table read, a gift, a chillax book. But whatever you do, just go to Poetizer.com, visit their virtual online bookstore, and purchase the Black Card today, or get your Black Card revoked. Last but not least, I have my own personal poetry blog on blogger.com titled hallziespoetrycorner. And the address is www.mrhallziesblogs.com on blogger.com. My tagline for it is poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions. When you read one of my poems featured on Halsey's Poetry Corner, you will find out just why. It basically, it encompasses literally any and every type of mood that you're in. I've been starting blogging on there lately. I've done 2 brand new poems on there recently. So go check those out. my 2 poems that I wrote this month. I kind of stopped writing poetry on Blogger after I started committing to the Narrative podcast, but it's a good platform, a good medium. The interesting, unique thing about my poetry featured on that blog site is that all the poetry on there is just done on the spur of the moment. It's written completely off the cuff. The crazy thing about it is the poems on there are so specific and detailed and intricate. You would get the impression that I wrote the poems down on a piece of paper or something before I posted it on the blog, but that's completely not the case. I wrote all of them just in the moment, not thinking at all about the title, the subject matter, or anything. Whatever I wrote about, whatever topic that I wrote about, I guarantee you it was the furthest thing from my mind when I started writing. So, check that out. You'll absolutely love it. You will definitely guarantee to find a poem that you can resonate with on Halsey's Poetry Corner. And how you can support Halsey's Poetry Corner is go to the link on blogger.com at www.mrhalseysblogs.com and share either the link to Halsey's Poetry Corner or a poem featured on Halsey's Poetry Corner across all platforms. So whatever you're most active on, share either the link to my poetry blog or a poem featured on my poetry blog across all platforms. For the visual ones like YouTube and TikTok, you might have to shout out, Halsey's Poetry Corner or a poem that you like featured on Halsey's Poetry Corner blog. I don't think you will get no copyright strikes for doing that. Like, comment, share them, hit the little heart-shaped like button, leave me a comment in the comment box. But whatever you do, share my poems from Halsey's Poetry Corner, and download all episodes of the Narrator podcast. That's it and that's all. I give you updates about all new projects. But this episode of the Narrator podcast, weekday edition, is officially a wrap. Catch you guys in a couple hours with a new episode of the Narrative podcast, but this one is officially a wrap. Thank you all for listening, sending you love, light, healing energy, projecting positivity over you. Let's do it, guys. Let's do it. Let's put positivity over the airwaves, positive over negative. Be the kings and queens that we are, the gods and goddesses that we are. Go out here and win, make an impact, make a difference in the world, promote positivity. Yeah. This episode of the Narrative Podcast is officially over. See you guys this weekend with a full episode. Download this episode, our previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast. Yeah. So, I'm Halsey Allen. I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time. I'm asking you to help me change the narrative by becoming a narrator. And while I'm changing the narrative on my end, one broadcast of the Narrative Podcast at a time, you can help me change the narrative on your end, one social media post at a time. Until next time, Halsey Allen in the Narrative Podcast signing off, and it's like that.
Listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.